again. Welcome to Get Celebritized. I'm your host, Aurea McGarry, and today I'm going to bring on a guest that's really going to give you hope and inspiration so you can earn more, live more, and give more. I have none other than a former NFL cheerleader from the Buffalo Bills. Yep, you heard me right. Who was confined to a wheelchair in 2005, who served in our U.S. Air Force and Air National Guard. She's a veteran. My hat is off to her, thanking her for her service. But she found rejection on the outside world when she tried and had to re-enter what we call the real world. And she's going to talk about how she thrived that re-entry, how and if she got out of that wheelchair, and what she is doing right now to help others thrive and make it in this world, even if you have to pivot after that pandemic. She has done it all. She has thrived it all. She is gorgeous inside and out. I can't wait to introduce you to none other than Krystalore Crews. Come on down.
Hello. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Hi, Krystalore. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad to have you on my podcast TV show here, Get Celebritized, because I have been a fan of yours for a long time on Clubhouse. As you rock those rooms and you give us hope, and you talk about so many really cool things about making it through tough times. And I said, I have got to get you on this show because my viewers and listeners love inspiration of hope. Because after the pandemic, Krystalore, as you know, so many people are still not out of the dark space. They're still trying to pivot or get up out of their own wheelchair to start walking and running again. So without any further ado, tell us a little about where you are now. Let's get the good news first. Who are you and what are you doing now? Then we're going to backtrack a little bit about some of those obstacles that really almost did stop you.
Yeah, so great to be here. Thank you so much. So I am Krystalore Crews, CEO of Crews Beyond Limits Consulting, and I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, life, fitness, and business accelerator. So my mission is to help empower everyone put themselves first for 34 minutes a day so they can reduce the stress and overwhelm and chaos of life and really just embrace it. And as you say, thrive in life. It is just my life's purpose to give so much hope and inspiration to others. And help
I love
them
that you say
learn about themselves.
multi-purpose. What do you say? Multi-passionate.
Multi-passionate.
I
Yes.
love that. That's good. And you also say you've got a really good, and I hate the word pitch, but you have a really good incentive for people. And I try to tell my clients this, really give us something juicy that sets you apart, that hits the pain, but makes it doable. So you're talking about this 34 minutes a day thing. Tell me about that, because that really resonated with me. 34 minutes a day. If we all want something bad enough, I bet we could find 34 minutes. So you're not just saying we got to solve this huge pain and you're going to get fit, or you're going to get happy, and you're going to solve all your life's problems. You're saying in 34 minutes a day, we can make some good changes. So I want to start right out with that.
Yes, absolutely. So I actually authored a book. So it's on Amazon. It's Your Crystal Clear Life Planner. And through this system that I've developed over the years, of course, it didn't happen overnight, but I trialed the things that would keep me very efficient in the time that I had, right? So we all have 1,440 minutes in a day. And as much as I travel all over for the military, I travel to beaches and my bags are always packed, right? And so I had to find efficient ways to be able to get things done so that I can start my day off with the right energy and so I can make the right impact in the world, right? So as a servant leader, as a military leader, we didn't have a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
So I would be in a hotel room and always traveling. I couldn't always get to a gym. And I was paying for a gym membership that I never actually used.
I have one of
And I was
those.
traveling. So I had to figure out a system, right? To be able to stay fit. In the military, in the Air Force, we say we're fit to fight, right? We're fit for life, right? And so we have standards. And so what I did was I kind of divided this 34 minutes into three different segments. So we have 2 minutes in the morning. So I take 2 minutes with my coffee, I play some music, and I just spend that time on myself. And I start with gratitude, goal setting, time blocking, and intentions. So social intentions. Who needs me at 100%, right? And who can I pour into? Who can I reach out to today to just impact and make someone smile today? So those are my 2 minutes in the morning with my coffee every single morning. All right. And then 30 minutes of movement. So I teach boot camps and hit and kickboxing sessions. So my workouts are 30 minutes, including warm up and cool down, that you can do from anywhere, from a hotel room, from the
Love it.
patio, your kitchen, the hallway, whatever. And then, so 30 minutes of movement, whatever that is for you. It could be yoga, walking, running, hiking. My workout's great, something else, but at
Sure.
least 30 minutes movement. And then 2 minutes of reflection each evening to bookend the day. So we reflect and we celebrate. How did we do today?
Mhm.
Were we intentional? Did we accomplish everything? What got in the way?
What were your
And
wins,
also
right? Celebrate the
the big
wins.
wins, the small wins,
Yeah.
and everything in between.
Well, Crystal, without
Mhm.
giving them all your secrets, because we want them to tap into you, I love that you start your day on purpose. It's just 2 minutes. We all can do that before our feet hit the ground. If you have to do it before you even get out of the bed, then you have some 30 minutes of movement. And it's amazing you're talking about kickboxing when I get to my question in a moment. Then you end the day with what there was, there was a win in there somewhere. As bad as one day might be, you had a win. You're still alive at the end of the day is a win. You're still breathing. You're still here to whether it's a great day, bad day, whatever it is. But you're talking about you're teaching kickboxing and you're teaching exercise and movement. So we're going to have to backtrack a little bit because I really want the listeners of yours to know you should have been kickboxing. You went from a really great achievement. You had one of the top achievements that a little girl could dream of if this is their genre, being an NFL cheerleader for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, not an unknown team by any means. It's actually my best friend's favorite team. They're from Buffalo. And then you're talking about you were in a wheelchair. Take us through that because that's a real success story right there. And people need to get some hope. Now that we know that you're kickboxing, you're a coach, you've got it all going on. You're at that success level, but you almost weren't. So let's go back.
Yeah, so that was a very challenging time in my life. Actually, I did a runway show during my NFL career, right? So I did a runway show for Spirit Halloween. It was October 31st, 2005.
A
And I
runway
woke up
modeling show, you mean?
Yes, it was a
Okay.
runway modeling show, just a runway show. It was a huge event for
Uh-huh.
Halloween, and all of us cheerleaders were the models, right? And so I was a witch, not something I would typically dress up as, but that was what they selected for me. So I wore these black stiletto-toed shoes when they first started coming back out. And I woke up the next day and my right baby toe was about this big, bright red. For those of you who can't see, it was like the size of my big toe. And it was my baby toe.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
so painful. And in Buffalo, in the middle of a blizzard,
Oh,
I
no.
couldn't put a shoe on. And so my doctors, they were like, you have an ingrown toenail, an ingrown nail. Go, don't wear those shoes anymore. Stop working out so much. Slow down. You're doing too much. Right. And so I listened for a while until my body started shutting down. So within 2 weeks, I was unable to walk.
Oh, wow.
So it started pain in my knees, both of my shoulders. I ended up with lockjaw for 3 months, and I landed in a wheelchair for 6 months while they tried to figure out what was wrong with me.
What was it?
Severe rheumatoid arthritis.
Seriously, it showed up like that? Just all of a
Yeah.
sudden?
And at the young age of 22, I wasn't, an adolescent, and I wasn't geriatric. So it wasn't on their radar at all.
Of course.
And so I spent 6 months in a wheelchair where they poked and prodded. I ended up having to take a chemotherapy pill and steroid injections to be able to walk. And unfortunately, at that time, I was in the military as well. So I joined in 2002, right after 9/11. And that medication ended up disqualifying me from military service. So they not only was my NFL career was over, my running, I was a runner, I was a sprinter in high school and college as well. So I could no
Wow.
longer run. They said my military career was over. And at the young age of 22, at the height of my career, what I thought right at the time, I was in my senior year of my undergrad. So much greatness and then so much despair all at once. I was also in a very abusive relationship at the time too. So Not only was I getting beaten up professionally, but personally, and,
Were you married?
it was just a
Were you
rough
married?
time. No, I was with a long-term,
Okay, so
boyfriend at the time, yes.
wow, wow. So you really had the bottom come out from under you. So you're at your height, and then the bottom gets dropped out. At that young age, too, Krystalore, and you still look like you're 22. So it still boggles my mind
Thank
that you
you.
were that young 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, I want to do whatever you're doing with skincare and the whole 9 yards, the healthy lifestyle. And the bottom drops out though when you're really young, which is I think harder when you're older. We have a little bit more coping skills sometimes. We've been through some things. Sometimes our obstacles, okay, here's another obstacle. We have some practice under our belt, right? But you're 22 and you're young. So now what happens to you mentally, emotionally, spiritually when that is happening and you're 22 thinking, well, I was here. Now my life seemingly looks over. What helped you? What helped you get through that? And how did you get through that?
So one of the things is reading and researching the power of anti-inflammatory diets and movement. I actually read Arthritis for Dummies, and
Nice.
that gave me some the science behind what was going on in my body. And it's fun. I just want to share this
Knowledge
because
is
I look.
power. Knowledge is
It
power.
really is sometimes. But what I realized was back then, I was not fueling my body properly. I was running it ragged. As much as I was at the top in the height of what I thought my life was and the pivotal point of my life, right? At the young age of 22, being in the NFL, I, I didn't have a good relationship with myself and my self-worth and my confidence. Yeah, my confidence was sort of there, but I didn't have a voice. And so when I look at pictures now, because it was in 2005, Facebook wasn't a thing, right? So I don't
Right.
have memories from then, right? So I'm looking at physical pictures and I look at them and I see so much hurt and pain in that girl.
Mm.
And I just want to share that because as much as we like to see the highlight reel of the perfection and everything that happens, whether it be on this show or on social media, even though they look like they have it all together, I see it in the pictures. I see the pain.
It's life.
And so
It's life. No matter what pictures you see, nobody's life is perfect. You have that moment of, exhilaration. You're winning an award. You're in the Olympics. Well, we should be smart enough to know that there's so much life that gets you to that point. I mean, we watch the Olympics, we watch the stories, the grit, the grind of getting to that point, even getting into the Olympics or whatever it is. It's not. You just wake up and every day is a piece of cake. And then I love to see, though, what you're about to tell us is how you go from that to continuing on with your life and finding that purpose and finding what it is you're meant to do because that happened, turning those lemons into lemonade. Because I don't think there are any lemons. I think they're all meant for a reason. And you have proved that.
exactly. And so once I really started to take charge and have a voice for myself and my health and really advocate for myself in many different ways, not only on a personal level, I started to create boundaries and
Mm.
I actually got therapy. I got in community with other people that were like minded. I found a better circle of people to hang around with. My mother was just an incredible life changer for me during that time. As I searched for my first apartment in a wheelchair. And,
Wow.
so it just, I'm a diversity and inclusion consultant and I advocate for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility now. I was in a wheelchair. So I know how that feels when people look down at you and that you just feel so different. And even at that young age. So that kind of has fueled me forward in the work that I do today. I think the biggest thing is really power of knowledge, standing up for yourself. I had a voice that I never thought I had. And I started to use it and start saying no to things that didn't serve me and started saying yes
That's
to the
really
things that did.
important. No is just as important as yes, and sometimes more important to say no to the wrong things. So what ultimately got you out of that wheelchair and back to you're in great shape. You are running again and doing marathons, but you were in that wheelchair. I love that you were proactive with your health. People are that so much more now too. I mean, everybody's a Google doctor, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
important. Are you get a diagnosis, no matter what it is? We're looking it up ourselves and we can scare ourselves half the time. But I like that you went that holistic, let's fuel the body better. And when you think about it, what 22-year-old unless they're like professional athletes like you were, is really fueling their body the best way they can. When I was in dancing and all the ballerinas and all that, you'd think they were in great shape, but really the most malnourished people I've ever met is those dancers and ballerinas. And I don't know how they stay up all day. Well, I know how they stay up all day, but I mean, just last through their adolescence, because they're not fueling their body well, most of them. So how did you get up out of that wheelchair and you are running again and showing others how to do it? On steroids, but not really on steroids.
No, I have been asked about that before, but no, I do not. All natural. So I think the pivotal point for me was when they tried to kick me out of the military. When they said the medication was disqualifying, was when I said, wait a minute, there has to be a better way. The pill box that I had was this big. It was bigger than my head, AM and PM. I took more medication to offset the horrible holes and ulcers that I had from the harsh medication that I was taking. And so the time that the medication was disqualifying and my military career was over, that's when I said, wait a minute, there has to be a better way. So I worked with my doctors safely and got off of all the medication. And that was destroying my body, right? And so when I could barely walk, now I lived in a 2-story carriage house at the time, and the kitchen was downstairs and the living room and the bedroom was upstairs. I couldn't walk. I literally crawled down face first into the kitchen because there wasn't an elevator and I couldn't walk, right? So I had to in order to eat. And so that really was a survival technique. But then I said, hey, doc, there's got to be other medications. There's got to be another way. So it took an entire year. I got off of all the medication. I was able to save my military career. I started moving. I started walking when when it hurt, when I didn't want to. I was overweight. I was unhealthy because I had taken all this medication. And I just started one step at a time. And then it was one light post at a time, one stop sign at a time, and then 1 mile at a time. It took an entire year, and I started moving, and I started really putting good nutrition in my body and getting the right mindset. And so that is where, if you were to unpeel that layer and really start at the foundation, this is what I teach, is a courage continuum. It's the Crews Beyond Limits Courage Continuum. That is 5 core competencies that really build on each other to be able to get back up from any situation, right? And so I'm proud to say that to date, it took me an entire year, but I've run 26 marathons, a 50-mile race, and I do not take ibuprofen to this day, nor let alone any other medication.
I love that. I love that. Proactive. And the fact that now you're doing what I always tell people to do is reach back behind you and help others succeed as well, because you went through that for a reason. I love you didn't get kicked out. You found a way to rectify the situation and saying, no, I'm not getting kicked out. I'm taking care of this. And if there's a way, I'll figure it out. And sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. And if there wasn't, you would have found a plan B and moved on. But you really were proactive on yourself. Let me ask you this. Who was your biggest supporter during that time? Were you completely alone? And I know you were saying you were being abused at the time. So who was your biggest supporter and how did they help the most?
My mother, really. My mother is she's incredible. I'm actually on a trip with her right now. We took an annual trip. She has really been my inspiration. She has always put health and wellness at the forefront. And I didn't always listen as a child and as a teenager. And now she runs half marathons. We're actually running the Key West half marathon this weekend.
Look at you
here
go.
in Key West.
I love it.
She has just been my light, my energy, my hero. And she was there every step of the way. And she gave me hope. And, she drove me around. She helped me just really not take no for an answer. She was willing to take me to the Cleveland Clinic. We were this close to going to the Cleveland Clinic and saying like, hey, there's something, this isn't right. And so she helped me find that voice.
So really a big supporter. So if your mom could give other supporters one piece of advice, because it seems like you were really willing to find out, but you really were being proactive. It wasn't like we had to drag you over the threshold. No, don't take no for an answer. You didn't want to take no for an answer. But there's a lot of supporters out there that maybe they're trying to help somebody that they know there could be more to their life. They know they can get up out of their wheelchair, whether it's physical or just spiritual or just mental wheelchair of life. What do you think your mom would say to give the supporters a piece of advice that if you're trying to help someone you love get out of a funk, get out of a dark space, what do you think she would say?
Oh gosh.
What do you think worked for you when you were going through that? Maybe you lost hope along the way and she said that one thing or did that one thing is like, you're right, I'm not giving up.
Really is give people love and empathy, because you might not know what's going on. I look a certain way, right? And
You
you
look
can't,
great.
and rheumatoid arthritis is autoimmune, right? And so I deal with it. I still live with this diagnosis every single day, but it doesn't define me. And so many times as supporters or as friends or family members or spouses of those that live with a disease, whether it be a mental health, physical health, maybe I suffered from cancer as well. So
Oh wow, what
I'm
kind
a
of
cancer.
cancer?
Yeah. So, if I'm a messenger, right,
You
of
are.
resilience. And so regardless, many times we can't see what's going on in someone's
Mhm.
heart and in their body. And if they say that they're hurting or if they're acting in a way that they need help, we have addiction in our family as well. So I think that's where a lot of her empathy comes, where
Yeah.
it's just we want to give love. We want to give love and compassion and empathy. And many times people just need to be heard, and they need to be able to have the space to have a voice
Mhm.
so that they can live their best life. And chances are, we all know our body the best, right? And so
No
if there's
kidding.
something not right and
You
we
know
can
it.
communicate it, be there to listen.
And you said two things. What type of cancer did you have?
Melanoma.
Did you? Because you said autoimmune, and I had the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is also autoimmune,
Yeah.
and so I wasn't sure it was like in the similar family. But one other question on this topic is, all right, now you've got your mom. It sounds a little similar to my story where my mom was with me through all my really hard times before then she ended up dying of cancer. But she was with me through my divorce and my escaping domestic violence. And I couldn't have done it without her for sure. So I hear this one little spot here that we need to hear about some success because I work with a lot of women that are either trying to escape domestic violence or I'm trying to help women avoid it too. But during that time, how did you escape it? Or because now he's not in your life anymore, correct?
Correct.
So,
Yes,
well,
I'm
how did
I'm
you get out
married
of
to
it?
an amazing man now who is so loving and supportive. And so how did I get out? I actually wrote letters. So this is one thing that I always tell my clients, write down your feelings, write down your emotions so that
Mm,
when you go in to a conversation or a situation, you're going at it with an unbiased approach, right? And you take your emotions out of it so you're speaking
oh, so
facts.
hard.
And so I wrote a lot of letters. I would hide in the closet
To
and
him
write
or to yourself?
to him.
So you're in the situation and you're journaling letters to him.
Yes.
Okay, keep going. This is good.
Yes. And sometimes that way you get your words out and you can process. And that's why
Mhm.
I love journaling. That's why I publish my journal. And it's just been so powerful. And so if you can get all of your emotions out, sometimes it's not all, I call it spaghetti brain, all right here and
Right.
very clouded. We tend to cloud our judgment when it's just all there stuck and reeling like a reel.
Mhm.
So when we can get it out, it helps the brain and the pace of your emotions really slow down and process what's really going on to see it from a different perspective.
Okay, so you
That's step
journal it.
one.
All right, what's step two?
Step two, I had to lie a little bit. I actually went to therapy. Yeah, I had to,
That's so do
because
what you gotta do. Get out of
I
this.
I literally
I
needed
mean,
help,
hello.
because when you deal with narcissistic behavior and the
Oh, been there,
ego,
done that.
you think everything is wrong with you. Me.
Exactly.
I thought
Yeah,
everything was wrong with
my
me,
fault.
and
Mhm.
I was never going to amount to anything. I
Mhm.
was never going to be with anybody else because I
And all
was
the anger
young.
is your fault. You make 'em
Yep.
mad. Yep, all the things. Yep. All right, so you lied to him. What did you lie about?
I said I was going to dinner with friends, and I ended up going to therapy.
Good for you. Good for you. How long did therapy take? I know everybody's is different, but you're going from wheelchair being abused to getting up, walking, running marathons. So when did this exit happen? Because I really want to take this one home and land this for people.
Yeah, it was about 3 or 4 months.
What, after you got out of the wheelchair?
Yes.
Okay, so you're
It
out of
was
the
around the
wheelchair.
same time. So it was, gosh, it was in 2006. 7,
Okay.
6. It was after the wheelchair, but that was it.
That's
I'd
right.
have to look at the time.
Oh,
I'd have
that's
to, like,
right. Just
really.
one up in general. Oh, that's just one general. So you're getting help, you're getting therapy. Now you're finding cures for your physical body. And now, because I know you do work on mindset, you're standing up and you're back, standing upright and being able to get down the stairs and get food. Did that help you feel like more self-esteem or self-assurance that this now relationship was dragging you down and you wanted to get out? Or did you always want to get out? Now you're just figuring out you get more bravery muscles.
I think I found some bravery in that moment
Good for you.
because I really, before, even as a professional athlete, a runner, it is a very personal uh, sport, right? And it doesn't require a voice. I'm supposed to look good and
Yeah.
be arm candy
Mhm.
and, be fully made up. And, I still wear full hair and makeup. I'm fully made up all the time. And it's just a part of my being. But I think at the time, I just thought I needed to look good and I didn't have the voice to back it up.
Okay.
And so that is really truly where I found my voice. And that's where now you really can't shut me up. And
No, that's good.
I'm
We don't
just
want to
all
set
of
you up.
me and this is it. So
I love it. I love it. So you're step 2 of journaling now, and I love that you have your journal book also on Amazon. We'll talk about that. I'm going to put your website up one more time as well. CrystaloreCrews.com. Go get her programs and go get her book. So now the pièce de résistance. You're journaling, you're writing him letters. And I know what it's like to leave a narcissist because I escaped domestic violence. And I did lie to get out. I said I was just going for a drive, and I finally ran to a hotel and I didn't look back. That started all the stalking. That it was not easy after that. That just started all the process. But you do what you got to do as a woman to be safe. So now you're journaling. What did you do? Did you give them the letters? Did you do this in person? Because I'm really concerned when women want to leave for them to be safe.
yes, I did not give him the letters.
How did you leave?
I didn't. But it really just meant so much to me to get it out.
Of
I
course.
knew that whatever, I was always going to be the villain, and I still am. And you might be watching this, I'll still
I
be the
know.
villain. And we're always going to be the villain in someone's story.
Mhm.
And that's okay. And I really just knew that I wanted more for my life. And so I did it in person. And in fact, this was the hard part, is we actually lived together for an entire month still after. We lived in
Oh,
2 separate
wow.
bedrooms. We went 2 separate ways,
Okay.
and that was a very challenging time, but it was what was necessary at the
Okay.
time to make it through.
And you're safe, and you now have a
Mhm.
happy relationship and a great guy. And don't you feel like, I remember when I got out of mine, I wanted 2 things. I wanted to laugh and not cry, and I wanted to feel beautiful about myself again, because I was like you, I was the dancer, the singer, the actress, and I got into this abusive relationship where we're so jealous and always downing. And you're realizing, if you're always mad, I'm always doing everything wrong, why did you marry me? It just, you start getting this like no self-esteem. And once you come out of it, you just want to feel like a human again. You just want to have some fun because it's such a dark place to be. So, what helped you then go be able to accept? Like I talk to women, you have to really have that mindset. You deserve someone good in your life. You deserve your Prince Charming, where you're their Princess Charming or Queen Charming, whatever you would say. You complement each other. You're each other's best friend. You love life together. And it's not one lording over the other, whichever one it may be. So, how did you come to a place where you were able to say, yeah, I deserve this, and accept this new wonderful person into your life?
It was a lot of unlearning,
Oh, that's a good
but
word, unlearning. So it wasn't
yes,
like you get to learn, you had to unlearn. Very good. I like that word.
a lot of unlearning, and that's a lot of what I help women do, actually, is unlearn some of the things, actually, and men too. I do this in my
Yeah.
work with teams, is really unlearning some of the rules that we grew up with, and in the formative years, whether it be as a child, as a teenager, or even in a previous marriage, or even those at work. I help so many people get out of toxic leadership situations as
Nice.
well. And so I think the biggest thing for me is I spent a lot of time, I spent 6 years single in my 30s, or in
Good
my
for you.
20s, right? My late
Okay.
20s. And I didn't meet my husband until I was 30. And so I traveled, I ran marathons, I
And
volunteered. I
love.
just found myself, and I found my own voice and my own purpose. And I got my master's degree. I traveled all over.
Good for you.
I just kept pouring in and finding the new version of me.
Good to you. So good. So good. All right. Before we talk about a little bit more, before we close up, where you're going, how you're helping people now, because this is so exciting, so helpful to so many. What is one or two things that you really see, you kind of universal that most people that are in these type of situations, mostly women too, that we need to unlearn? What are some of those things that you help us unlearn?
Okay,
Maybe the one main
so
one. I know you probably go on forever, all the things depends on what family situation where you are. But what's one of the maybe the most common thing you have to help people unlearn?
I call them the OPOs.
OPOs, okay.
The OPOs, the other people's opinions.
Ooh, like belly buttons. They all got one.
Mhm. Yes,
Okay.
this is my most favorite thing to help people unlearn is that not everyone is in your inner circle. Not
Mm.
everyone is on your team. And when we sacrifice our pieces of ourselves to live a life for someone else,
Ooh,
according to their rules, according to their thought of what your life should be like, that's when we slowly die inside.
interesting. Interesting. Crystal, you said you got your master's degree? Okay, what'd you get it in?
So I have an MBA, it's in entrepreneurial studies.
Nice. Because you're
Mhm.
very wise. And I could see, I didn't know if maybe it was in psychology or human behavior, because you're very wise. These are really good points. I love that you helping people unlearn. It sounds like you've got a really good system to take people, not just I meet so many people that are not on my show, obviously, but just out there, we're all on these apps and hear a lot of people talk, and it's a lot of fluff and it's a lot of just get up, make it happen, and just the fluffy stuff. And I love when I meet people like you, and you're the type of people I bring onto the show that have the tacticals. Like, it is not easy. This is what you need to know. Here's some systems that'll help you. Because I know when you go through a mental health counseling and therapy, you need tools to make it through tough times. You can't just say, just cheer up. Here's the tools of grieving a loss. Here's the steps. Just like whether it's alcoholism, there's a 12-step program. There's programs you have to go through with other people, with a community. And we can't just leave people out there just say, well, you should just be happy, or you just got to wake up happy and just face the day. And I'm hearing so many great tacticals from you. And I know you have so much more to give your clients. So tell us, and tell everybody listening, watching, what's next? Where and how can people tap into your community and your brilliance and your help if they're resonating with this conversation and wanting more from you, which I hope they do.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for that, those kind words. So, my wisdom actually does come from certifications in diversity, equity, and inclusion, emotional intelligence. I went through Georgetown. I'm also certified
Oh,
to help with temperament, personality, communication styles. So, it is a lot of psychology. And I've been building strategic level DEI programs for the last 5+ years now. And so, high level, very strategic plans,
nice.
and so that's where a lot of my wisdom has come to be able to break down what happens in psychology and in human behavior. So that, and I kind of brought that to the health and wellness space to be able to tell this story and be able to give tactical tips and strategies, right? Not only as an individual, but as a leader, whether it be a business owner, a leader in an organization, maybe your church, or maybe just the leader of your household,
Yeah.
right? So that is, I think, just so important. So, and then also in teams and groups and companies and large organizations, I've trained over hundreds of thousands of people,
Oh, that's
right?
great.
And it's just
It
so
should.
incredible to see this transformation of people understanding their brain and how they show up in the world and how they can communicate more effectively with others. So I just wanted to share that
Yeah.
because that is a part of emotional intelligence and knowing oneself. And I do a lot of values and vision work and manifestation, all of that. It's very tactical, like you said.
I
It's
love that.
not
And you're
woo
awesome.
woo like
Yeah,
toxic
no.
positivity, right? It's very structured.
And I love that you come
And
from the military, because if we're going to learn strategies, time saving, tips, we're going to learn it from somebody that's come from the military, because your time's not your own. You've got 30 seconds to get things done. And you can really learn a lot about discipline from anybody that's come out of the military, because there's structure to that. There's a certain type of person that even enlists in the military. So I'm always talking to people about take advice from people who are where you want to be, or you resonate with that is already at that point that you need to get to. And then you topple on top of that, Krystalore, what you've been through, like getting out of that wheelchair, self-diagnosing, making yourself better, taking the diagnosis from the doctor, then adding on to it, being more proactive and just getting off the medicines where you could have stayed, where you got the diagnosis, okay, here's your meds, get out of the military, stay on the meds, and that could have been it. At least you'd be alive and you know what the diagnosis, but you didn't stay there. So anybody that wants to know how to overcome whatever it is, absolutely could come to you because you've been there, done that. And put on top of that, Krystalore, you've got degrees and certifications and training and education. The list goes on. So with that, if they're listening in, if y'all listening on the podcast side of this and you're not seeing her, go watch her on the YouTube, on my Aurea McGarry YouTube, to see her beautiful face, see her smile. And her website is Krystalore Crews, but it's Krystalore with a K. So Krystalore, Crews with a C. CREWS.com. We'll put that in the descriptions. We'll put that everywhere. So as we close up, Krystalore, if this is resonating, where's the first stop they can go to say, I just want to talk to you. I want to follow you. I want to have more of your insights. What should they just go to your website?
Yes, just go to my website. There's plenty of ways to contact me, reach out. I'm on all the socials as well. So whatever, really the most powerful thing you can do is just send me a direct message. Send me a message on my website or on Instagram and just say, hey, this resonated with me. I need help in this area. What's happening? Because I have several programs. I have an amazing community of supportive, engaging, just we cheer each other on. We hold each other accountable. And it's just a beautiful place to be able to level up your health, your wellness, your leadership, your business, your fitness, whatever that is that you're working on.
I love that. Well, I'm going to give them a little extra juice to add on to that. When you DM her, tell her you met her on Get Celebritized, and she'll treat you extra special, and she'll DM you back extra fast. So say, hey, I heard you on Get Celebritized, because her friends are my friends are your friends, and we really take care of each other's own. So let her know you're already part of the family by being part of this show, hearing her, seeing her, and supporting in that way. And if you know somebody that needs help, Krystalore is such an easy person to talk to. She's a real friend to all of us, and she'd be the type be happy to just chime in and listen to you if you're one of those supporters of somebody going through something tough. Because I truly believe, Krystalore, as I know you do as well, it takes a village, not just to raise children, but to raise human beings, to be in this world together. And I learned that even more so during the pandemic when everybody was taken away from each other. Thank God for apps like Clubhouse, where you and I met, and we all built these global relationships from our bedroom and our bathrooms and our offices and our PJs, because the world said, sorry, you guys can't see each other anymore. But the audio app said, yeah, well, we're going to talk to each other. Watch this. And now we're all real friends, and we're all really part of each other's villages. So it's so cool. All right, Krystalore, you have been amazing. Closing words. Give us one piece of advice to anyone listening that needs that extra get up and go right now, today, to make this day better than it's been in a very long time. What say you?
I would love to share. My brand is Cruise Beyond Limits. And so my encouragement to you today is cruise beyond the limits that other people, places, things, society place on you, but also cruise beyond the limits, the ones that we place on ourselves. So get out, move today, start today. Don't wait till Monday.
I love that. And OPO, other people's opinion, doesn't matter. Get those out of there. Krystalore, thank you so much. So excited for you to be here on this show. We've got more in store with you coming forward. You are amazing. Thank you for utilizing your life, your testimonials, your struggles, your triumphs with the world. You're amazing. CrystalloreCrews.com. Go check her out. Thank you so much. Because if you guys want to earn more, live bigger, live more vivaciously, and be able to give back more, you are in the right place. Make sure that you keep on listening to Get Celebritized to meet more people like Krystalore Crews, here to help you thrive this life. Thank you, Krystalore.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day. See you next time on Get Celebritized.